Today we are taking a look at the Crucial Ballistix RGB Ram to see whether or not it is any good, and also talking about RAM in general. So let's get into it.
Beginning Monday over most of these stations,
Now the kit I have here is a 32GB kit of DDR4 3200 MHz RAM, which isn't the fastest RAM on the market, but it is a really decent speed, and it also has a CAS latency, which is actually fairly decent. Now the lower the CAS latency is, the better, and if you don't know what CAS latency is, basically what it really means is the amount of cycles that it takes for the RAM to send the data that is being requested by the CPU itself. So in this case, with a CAS latency of 16, it will take 16 cycles to actually send the data that is being requested. Now when it comes to RAM, there are a bunch of different types and a bunch of different variants, but for me at least I'm going to classify them in RGB and non-RGB, and then in those you have low profile and what I'm going to be calling standard. Now the Crucial Ballistix are low profile RAM, and what that technically means is that it doesn't actually stick out as much from the motherboard itself. As you can see on this module itself, it is not as high, meaning it won't actually obstruct other parts in your system that could potentially be obstructed by higher profile RAM. Now when it comes to the actual design of the RAM, it is a plain looking piece of RAM, especially on the sides, which is not a bad thing at all since you're not mainly going to be seeing the size of the RAM once you actually install it. And it also has the RGB strip that runs along the spine with the Ballistix logo in the center, as well as 4 pieces of the actual metal casing that wraps around. But other than that, it actually leaves the RGB strip pretty much unobstructed. Now the RGB is made out of 8 RGB sections, and the diffusion itself actually makes a really good job at eliminating all of the RGB hotspots themselves. Now if you take a look at some of the colors, you do see some hotspots, but it's not that noticeable, and if you really look close you do see them, but other than that it is really unnoticeable when you just look at the RAM in general. Another thing that kind of fades away is the Ballistix logo itself, and from a distance it almost just looks like a black strip, so you don't really notice that at all, and it kind of fades away if you don't really look for it in the system. When it comes to customizing the RGB on the RAM itself, you will need to go and download the Crucial Ballistix mod utility, which will allow you to not only change the color of the RGB itself, but also take a look at the specs of your RAM, as well as the temperatures that they are running at currently. Now when it comes to the controls of the RGB itself, it did feel fairly limited, but you do have options to change each RAM module individually, or you can use them as a group and change one setting to have them affect all of the modules that you have currently installed. Now when it comes to the effects, there are a few different types of effects, with some being fairly straightforward, while others actually seem to either not be working or I just don't understand what they're doing, and the settings themselves kind of left me confused, especially in the effects tab, as some of them felt like they did the exact same thing as the previous setting, even though it has a different name. Now when it comes to the colors itself, you do have an RGB circle where you can actually nitpick and fine pick colors that you want, as well as an RGB tab where you can actually select the amounts of red, green, and blue. And if that is something that you want to do and you have a set color key that you want to choose from, you can always do that and just enter those values, making it fairly simple to really select the exact colors that you need. Now when comparing the normal and the RGB variants of the Ballistix RAM, they are very similar, and the non-RGB actually looks like it just has a solid piece of metal in the place where the RGB is on the RGB RAM modules. But then if you actually go and compare the Crucial Ballistix RAM to that of a Corsair Vengeance Pro, you can easily see that the Corsair Vengeance Pro is much higher and sticks out a lot more in a system compared to the Crucial Ballistix. Now since the Crucial Ballistix RAM is much more compact, if you have smaller cases or you have cases where your motherboard is much closer to the top of the case, you will actually have less interference with the Crucial Ballistix compared to that of the Corsair Vengeance. Now some components that can interfere with the RAM itself is top case fans, especially if you have radiators, as they do come down quite a lot, and it can actually make it hard for you to replace RAM if you need to down the line, or it can make it impossible to actually fit all of the components if there isn't enough space. Now another part that can get interfered is air coolers on the CPU as well, since some of them are fairly big. And what can happen in some situations is that you are not able to remove your RAM anymore that is underneath the air cooler itself, or it can actually not fit at all if the air cooler comes down enough and it interferes with the RAM completely. Now in my current setup, I am actually using the non-RGB variant of the Crucial Ballistix Ram, which is the exact same model as the RGB. And for the few months that I've been using the RAM, I've had zero issues with durability and they have performed extremely well. And for the few days that I've tested the RGB ones, I've had zero issues as well. Now one thing that I will point out at this point is that if you are actually installing new RAM, remember to activate XMP settings and setting your frequency of your RAM. Because if you don't do that, the RAM actually doesn't run at the frequency listed on the box, but it will run at a lower frequency, which can negatively impact the performance of the RAM and your entire system. Now overall, Crucial has done an amazing job with these RAM modules. They look great, they feel great, and most importantly, they perform great. Now I do feel they could have done a better job with the RGB controls, as it does feel very limited, especially compared to other software like Corsair's. And it actually feels like some of the effects are either not working or they are a little misleading with the names, as they either didn't change settings, or if they did, it was very marginal and I didn't even actually recognize what was changing. Now of course this is something that Crucial can actually fix, as this is only a software issue and not a hardware issue. So hopefully if there is something wrong, Crucial will actually go and fix it. So if you're looking to get good quality RAM, regardless of it being RGB or not, definitely take a look at the Crucial Ballistix Ram, as they do perform really well and they are fairly inexpensive, especially for the performance that you get in terms of CAS latency and frequency. Now if you're actually looking at picking up Ballistix Ram, I have left links to multiple different variants of the Crucial Ballistix Ram down in the description below for you to go and easily just select the ones that you need or the ones that you want, or even the ones that you just like the look of. And that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, if you have any questions on Crucial Ballistix Ram or any other RAM or any other settings in RAM, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below, or come and hang out while I stream live. I am on Twitch every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon from 7 p.m. Hope to see you guys there, and until next time, cheers.